Ask me what I'm doing, just grinding. Haters wanna hate, let them hate, never mind them. Be more bins, tryna reach the next plateau. And I can't stop till I achieve my goals. Keep a couple fees inside the photos. So official with the vibe, you can't fuck up my zone. Hold on for a minute, let me count mine, you know.
Welcome to the Ultimate Wealth Podcast, the show where we unlock the secrets to financial empowerment and lasting prosperity. I'm your host, Derek Pasalacqua, and together we're on a journey to transform your financial future and elevate your life to new heights. Join us each week as we dive deep into proven strategies, powerful insights, and transformative stories. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a busy professional, or someone seeking to create wealth and build a lasting legacy, this podcast is your go-to resource for achieving financial mastery and living a life of intentional greatness. This show is about more than just building wealth. It's about creating the life you deserve. So join us and let's build a future where financial freedom is not just a dream, but a reality. Welcome to Ultimate Wealth. Hello and welcome to the Ultimate Wealth Podcast. My name is Derek Pasalacqua. I'm your host, and I appreciate you tuning in and joining me today for this special episode. I know it's been a while since we've been on here, and I'm looking forward to just getting back into the swing of things here. Had a lot going on over the past few weeks. My grandfather back in Arkansas has been sick, and unfortunately he has passed away. So I'd like to dedicate this episode to him. His name's Charlie Risenhoover, calling him Pops. Great, amazing, fantastic man. Taught me a lot about money and what I know about money and just how to be a man and a good person in general, and how to really help and serve and put others first, and most importantly, how to live life as a good God-fearing Christian man, and lead others and be an example, for your family, for the community, and just how to all around live a good Christian life. And that is really all you could ever ask for. I was very fortunate to know him. He was a great man, and he leaves behind a great legacy. And so as sad as I am by his passing, at the same time, I know he's probably dancing on the streets of gold up in heaven right now, and nothing could make me happier or prouder as his grandson. So with that being said, let's dive into today's topic. So what I want to talk to you about today is something that is right in alignment with all the things that we typically like to talk about and discuss, with just kind of a slightly different spin on it. Okay, so really what I want to do is I want to describe the benefits of what it is we teach on a day in and day out basis, okay? And then I just want to lay it out like step by step kind of, and really kind of just break down and dissect the intricacies of the strategy that we teach without necessarily getting into the weeds and deep diving or divulging on what specifically financial product I'm talking about. I just want to describe the benefits, and really at the end, obviously, I will tell what it is I'm talking about, or reveal that. And if you've been following this for any amount of time, you likely already know what I'm going to be speaking about. But the reason I'm doing this is because I was having a conversation recently with a gentleman, and he was telling me that everybody wants all the benefits that this strategy gives you, okay, in your life. And if all you did was list out the benefits and what this can do for you, people would be lined up for miles to sign up and to want that. Everybody would want it, basically, is what he's saying, and they'd be lined up out the door to get it. It's once you tell them what it is that all of a sudden, because of the stigma due to certain personalities, financial personalities, I guess you could say maybe gurus in the space, that have started, or have been really not started, but shed kind of a negative light on it, and kind of put this stigma on it, like it's this evil thing. Simply, I don't know if it's due to ignorance or if there's some agenda behind it. Either way, a lie is a lie, and false is false. So I'm not here to try to refute necessarily anything they're saying, because they don't usually, at least not any that I've heard, give too many accurate facts or statistics. I'm simply here just to describe what it is that we're able to help people do, and basically let folks know in detail exactly why they would want to do this, why it's beneficial, and what's so powerful about it, and how it works, and then let them decide for themselves, really, because at the end of the day, what we believe in here at Ultimate Wealth is we believe in simply just educating people to the best of our ability, staying within our lane as far as what it is our expertise is and what we actually know or don't know. Not trying to get outside of our box or color outside the line, so to speak, but just really try to stay at our lane, focus on what it is that we know, what we specialize in, and then just educate, and not educate with the intent or with some hidden or secret agenda of trying to convince you or sway you or persuade to do, that you should do this versus that, or, this thing is the best and that thing is evil. But just simply educate from the standpoint so you just to provide information so that you as a consumer or as an agent or as a advisor or whatever are able to be educated, so that way you can know all of your options and make an educated decision based on having had all of the information in front of you, and not only parts of the, bits and pieces of information. So that way, when you make a decision, that decision is based on what you think you know. But obviously, we don't know what we don't know. So all we're trying to do is shed light on the truth and the facts across the board, and our, based on our specialty and the thing that we specialize in and are good at, just to basically make that knowledge a little bit more prevalent. So when people, like I said, consumers or advisors, either one, go to make a decision, they have all the facts. And that is what is going to help you to be able to make what is, quote unquote, the right choice or the best decision for you and your family and your financial future going forward. So I'll start with saying this, okay? If there was an account somewhere, if there was a place where you could store your money, okay, so, and we're not talking about a bank account, because we all know about how those work. And not that there's anything wrong with a bank account. I have a bank account. I think everyone should have a bank account. So I'm not villainizing that. But that's just simply not what I'm talking about. So we're going to pretend for a second that there's this other kind of magical account, if you will. And we're going to say that if an account existed where you could store money, okay, so like it's essentially going to be an account that's kind of like we'll just pretend it's like a savings account, but we'll just call it a super savings account or an alternative savings account. But it's just a place where you're going to store house your cash, okay? It's a secondary place, an alternative place. We're going to store house capital here. And then when you say, why on earth would I need or want somewhere besides just a high-yield savings account to store house capital? Well, there's a few reasons. But number one, and maybe most importantly, is there's really three, I guess, pillars that this new account that we're talking about can be built on, okay? We want somewhere that's going to be safe, obviously. We don't want to put our money somewhere, especially if this is money we're saving, not investing. Investment entails risk, saving is not. So this is money we're saving, so we don't want it to be at risk, so it has to be safe. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we want it to be liquid, because what if we need to get to it, right? The whole reason that we maybe put money in a savings somewhere or save money is so we have access to that money when and if we need it for whatever reason, whether that's an emergency, an opportunity, or an investment, whatever. And for any reason, we want it to be safe. We want it to be liquid. And then number three, obviously, we would like it to be safe, liquid, and if it's going to be sitting there, it may as well be growing. So we want to have some kind of a rate of return or some sort of a growth. So we want to get those three elements, right, in the most kind of efficient way possible. So how can we keep our money safe and get good growth on it, but it still remain liquid, so we have access to it if and when we need it? Okay, now let's take that a step further. what if we could also, in addition to those three things, because everything else you described so far, you can obviously do in a high yield savings account. What if we can get that money then to also grow tax free? Okay, now we're outside of what's capable with a normal savings account. So with a typical savings account, your money is not going to grow tax free. All right, so if whatever you earn inside of that savings account, when you withdraw to go to use that money, you're going to owe taxes on it. So what if we could get it to grow tax-free, or I guess technically we could call it tax-deferred, but if you structure and use it properly, tax-free, all right? And then it's not only going to grow that way, but then you also have the ability to then access those dollars tax-free as well. So now you have a place that you can storehouse your capital that is safe, liquid, it's guaranteed growth, it's guaranteed to grow. It's not tied to the stock market, so it can never come down in value. All right, so it's only ever going to go up, and it's guaranteed, contractually guaranteed to go up. All right. And in addition to all of that, it's going to grow tax-free, and you're going to have the ability to access and also use those funds tax-free. Now, we're getting somewhere that sounds a little bit more enticing, but let's add yet another layer to that. What if we could put our money and store it somewhere that was safe, that was liquid, that was guaranteed to grow? We could access it, use it at any time for any reason with no penalties or fees, and it was growing tax-free. We could pull, use, and access it if and when we needed to, tax-free. And then what if, and this is maybe the part that's a little bit almost crazy, or maybe seems too good to be true, but when we pull, use, or access that money that's growing tax-free, that we are able to then access tax-free, what if when we access it to go deploy it to whatever, right? Let's say we use it to put in an investment, take advantage of an opportunity, buy a piece of real estate, invest in ourselves, whatever the case may be, pay off debt, whatever. It continues growing as if we had never even touched it. So, meaning if we had $100,000 that we had saved in this account, or some kind of a principal amount that had maybe say grown to be 100,000, okay, and we needed 100,000 to go, let's just say for an example, buy a piece of real estate. We could then access the money in this account, pull that full 100,000 out, or say even 80,000 of it. Okay, let's just say we pull 80,000 out. So with a normal savings account, two things just happened if you do that. Number one, you and maybe most importantly, you only have $20,000 left in your savings account now, right? And you just killed the compounding growth of that full 100,000. Now you're only compounding in growth on the 20,000. Not to mention, in a normal savings account, you don't have to pay taxes on whatever growth that you have incurred for whatever amount of time that money has been sitting there and growing. But with this new account, not only do you not have to pay taxes on that money, and not only do you not break and kill that compounding, but you still have the full $100,000 that is sitting inside of this account and growing as if you had never touched it, still compounding. You never break that compounding cycle. So now you effectively have your dollars being put to work in two places at the exact same time, because you had 100,000 that was growing and compounding for however long in this account, this new account. You borrowed 80 of it to go buy and put it down on this piece of real estate that you were going to make, whatever, a good return on. But the money in that account is, the balance still shows you 100,000 that's in there. Even though you just borrowed 80 of it, it still shows you have 100,000 that's growing tax-free and compounding. And if you know anything about how compounding and compound interest works, the two biggest elements, or really the one biggest element, is time. The earlier you start and the longer you give it, the better it gets, and the more you have that that kind of hockey stick looking trajectory on the graph, as the years, when you get up into that 30, 40, 50, 60 year range, that compounding, it's kind of like the old adage of, a penny a day doubled every day for 30 days. Once you don't make a lot of money from maybe your first 20, 25 days, but from days 25 to 30, you have these big, huge, enormous exponential leaps in value and growth that make up for that first 20, maybe 20, 25 years when it wasn't very impressive and there wasn't hardly anything in there. Now, if just that alone, if that was all you got, okay, was just the benefit that I've so far described, in my opinion, it would be a no-brainer to pick this new account over this traditional savings account. Simply for the reason that, hell, you can use the money inside this thing and you don't kill the compounding of your dollars that are in it. And you're getting multiple uses of the same dollar, therefore making you much more financially efficient. Now, unfortunately, it's not quite that black and white, and there is a little bit more nuance to it, but because there is a cost of capital in this new account, right? So you are going to get charged an interest rate because there is no free lunches. By allowing your money to continue growing tax-free as if you had never touched it, there's going to be a cost to that. There's trade-offs to everything. Okay, there are no free lunches in this world. Let's be very clear about that. But by doing that, okay, so let's just say that what's that guaranteed rate? We said we were going to be safe, liquid, and have guaranteed growth. Well, let's just say that guaranteed growth is around 4.5%, between 4 and 5. But that's guaranteed, and that's year after year, every year for the rest of your life as long as you live. Okay, even when you're using money, and you still have the ability to use and access money throughout your life while it grows uninterrupted. When you really truly understand how powerful that is, your life, I don't believe, will quite ever be the same, because when you have the ability to access dollars and deploy them in multiple places at the same time, there's always the cost of capital, no matter what. That's what's most important. People say, well, why would you pay to borrow your own money? Well, you're not borrowing your own money. You're borrowing this institution's money that is holding this new savings account. You're borrowing their money, okay? And you are going to pay them interest on it, but never more than 8%. It's usually around 5%, but it's capped at 8% right now. Okay, so, but if you're earning 5% and you're paying 5%, what do we call that? The wash, right? So there's not going to be this really huge, crazy charge for this money, versus if you were to say, well, people say, well, why would I pay cash? If I have money in a savings account, I don't have to pay 5% interest rate to use it. That's crazy. Why would I pay 5% to use my own money? Well, again, you're not using your own money, number one. Number two, you're paying regardless, because you're either paying you're either going to pay someone interest to use money, period. You're going to pay interest to use it. If you're going to use OPM, other people's money, you're paying someone to use it. Or you're going to give up the ability to earn interest on that money. Either way, there's always a cost to capital. There is never not a cost to capital, period. You're either giving up the ability to earn interest or you're going to pay it to someone, but there is no free lunches. You can't get out of that. There's no way around it. So then it becomes, how can I best minimize that cost of capital, otherwise known as opportunity cost, which the whole idea of, when you spend $1, you don't just lose the dollar, but you lose the dollar plus everything the dollar could have made you for the rest of your life. So how can we best minimize this cost of capital when we go to deploy these dollars, whether it be for debt, for an opportunity, whatever it is for? That should be the biggest question. How can I minimize the cost of capital? Now, right now, we're in a higher interest rate environment as of this recording, and so 5% doesn't sound terrible. A few years ago, when interest rates were at record lows, 5% sounded outrageous. But here's the thing, is that it's always steady. It gives you more options. It gives you the ability to have more control, and more options and more control is always almost better than less options and less control. When you're comparing two things, typically It's never going to be a bad thing to have more options. And very rarely, unless you have zero self-control and zero self-discipline, it's going to be a bad thing for you to have more control and more options. So, and this new type of account would not be good for someone who doesn't have any discipline, self-control anyways. In the first place, they probably not someone going to be a good candidate and shouldn't really look at doing this anyways. So now, not to get too far off on the weeds on that, but with this new account, so we get all these things that we've talked about. Now let's add another layer in. What else do we get? We also get creditor protection with this new account. So unlike traditional savings accounts, with the new account, if you get in trouble, something happens, somebody comes after you, sues your business, this money is protected in most states. There's some level of creditor protection, I believe, in all 50, but in most states, you are fully protected. That money cannot be, you can't be sued. People cannot come after those funds. They are safe from everyone and anyone, judgments, liens, lawsuits, things of that nature. So there's an extra layer right there of protection that you don't get with a traditional savings account. Now, let's go a step further. Now, on top of this account being able to be very multidimensional, multifaceted, and really form the foundation, because you're starting to be able to kind of see how something like this can really work as the base layer to form really the foundation of your financial life and be a stable foundation that you're able to build everything else on and grow and expand and have a solid, sturdy foundation to which you can build the rest of your life around. Because the biggest thing, you can build the biggest house and the most magnificent giant castle or mansion in the world, but if you don't build that on a solid, strong, and sturdy foundation, then it's only as good as the foundation it's built on, or it's going to crumble and fall with the first sign of adversity, or the first big storm that blows through it's going to be gone. And that's what a lot of people try to do. They're trying to take the shortcut and the easy route, if you will. And there are no easy routes. There are no shortcuts. And while that's not necessarily a popular thing or attractive, fun, sexy, flashy thing to say or talk about, it's the truth. And the sooner that you realize and understand that, the better off you're going to be, and the further you're going to get, because you're not going to be looking for these shortcuts and these quick outs or quick fixes or loopholes. And not to say that there's anything wrong with finding a loophole or, shifting odds in your advantage to help you better navigate a situation. I'm all for it. I'm just saying, when it comes to finance, when it comes to cash flow, money, and capital, there are no secrets, there are no shortcuts to building wealth and to having a solid financial foundation that is going to be there and stand the test of time, generation after generation, regardless of what comes your way, allowing you to weather any financial storm, no matter how good or bad. And not only weather it, but in many cases, put you in a position to where you have access to capital and cash flow when others do not, allowing you to actually grow your wealth when others are kind of starting to curl in to protect and go into the defensive mode. You can show up more powerfully, have more options, and effectively just continue to expand and add to your current kind of portfolio. And it's just going to put you in a better position, because there's something about knowing you have this foundation in place that allows you to show up more powerfully in your day-to-day life and make better decisions and just kind of show up in a different way and really go about things differently, because you have that confidence of knowing that you have this solid, sturdy foundation that you're standing on, that's not going to go anywhere, and that you have these backstops in place. So now let's add another layer into what this account can do. So on top of the safe, liquid growth that's guaranteed, on top of the creditor protection, the tax-free growth, the tax-free access, and all these things that we've named so far, the ability to put our dollars to work and deploy them to get multiple uses and multiple places at the same time. Now let's add in this next element, which is use as a volatility buffer. So Dr. Wade founded a study a while back, and what he did was he showed that if you replace the bond portion of the traditional 60-40 portfolio with 40% allocated towards bonds, okay, if you replace that with this type of savings vehicle that we're talking about, it allows your total portfolio to last up to between like 40 and 60% longer, and to go that much further, because you don't have to draw down on your market investments during market downturns. So think about this. If the market's already down, so the values of your shares are already worth less, then you have to sell more of them to continue to maintain your current standard of living. So you're not just depleting your nest egg, you're actually doing even more damage, because you have less shares that are going to be able to bring you back up when the market recovers, and that kind of brings me to the next point of why average rates of return are so meaningless and misleading, because they don't show the full picture. Whenever you have money in an account, and there's average returns and then there's actual returns. Average rates of return sound good. They make for good sound bites. But if you actually break down what's the account value actually doing, and the only way, and really the most accurate way to determine that, is looking at an IRR, which is an internal rate of return, which factors in opportunity cost automatically, as well as your cash on cash return, and gives you a true clear picture of what that account is doing. If you look at that, you'll get a clear picture and have a real true idea of actual performance, versus just listening to people like Dave Ramsey say that every mutual fund is going to get you a 12% rate of return, when even if a mutual fund has averaged 11.8 or 12% over the last 20 and 30 years, average rates of return mean about as much as a pile of shit. I mean, they don't mean anything. If you had $100 in an account, and that $100 grew in your first year, you got 100% rate of return on it. Okay, what would you got? $200, right? So in year two, you have a 50% loss on that money. Now how much do you have? You have $100 again, right? Well, through 2 years, you've averaged 50% growth on that money. But what's the actual account value? Even though you have a 50% average rate of return, the account value is still $100. You've gone nowhere. So how is that even ever going to be showing you an accurate picture of your actual performance of what's actually happened with your actual account values and your actual dollars? All right. But I think most importantly is that there is no other account. And here's the thing, that we're not looking at this account as an alternative to investing in the market. We're simply saying that this new type of savings vehicle will give you bond-like returns on a tax-free basis that can help you prop up your market investments, so that when they have those downturns, and we will have corrections, there will be downturns, your portfolio is able to recover, because instead of drawing down on it and having to sell off your assets when they're already at a depleted value, it will buy you time to let those assets recover, to come back up, therefore lasting longer. And then when that happens, you can replenish this new alternative type of savings account, because brings me to my next point, which is, with this new type of account, not only do you get all the things we've discussed so far, but then you also, when you borrow that money, like I described earlier, you're not borrowing it from yourself, you're actually borrowing it from the institution that's holding this account. Unlike a bank or a bank loan, when you borrow money, with this new type of account, there is no set payback period. There's no structured repayment terms. It's meaning that you pay them back when and if you're good and ready, if ever. Okay? And not only that, but you don't technically ever have to pay them back because this new type of savings account is actually guaranteed by the institution because there's going to be a unilateral contract in place saying that as long as you do your part, that they are on the hook to do theirs. Okay. And so you don't get that anywhere else. The FDIC is going to give you that type of an agreement. Now, let's take it a step further. On top of no structured loan paybacks, tax-free access to money, having a safe and a place to storehouse your capital where it's guaranteed to grow, where you become part owner of the company, where you get tax-free growth, tax-free access, you get a volatility buffer in retirement, where you get all of these amazing benefits, the creditor protection. What also would happen if you could get money to protect your family if something happened to you as well, so your legacy, and that money also would be tax-free. So not only do you get the tax-free growth, the tax-free access, but if something ever happens to you, your ability to produce value and to have an income and bring and support your family. If something ever happened, so that went away, this new account is going to provide your family a multiple of whatever value you have saved in it. It's going to pay them a multiple of that. Meaning, if you save, it's just an example, $100,000 so far into this new savings account, and something, God forbid, happens to you, it's going to pay your family a multiple of that. Or another way of saying that is, like 10 times that amount. So if you had to say 100,000 in that account, it's going to pay your family, $1 million or whatever it may be. But it's going to be a multiple. It's going to be in excess, in great excess. Multiple just means like times, 2 times that amount, 3 times that amount, the multiple of that amount. So, and that's also guaranteed as well. And it's guaranteed to be tax-free. And it doesn't have to go through probate or any of that mess either. So now you're starting to look at this really as a Swiss Army knife that truly can grow with you throughout every stage of your life and form the foundation, like we've talked about 100 times now, a solid, sturdy foundation for your finances, your future. And you can take it one step. This is the last, I'll start to wrap it up here, but the last step is that you can take this new alternative savings account, you can place it in something like a trust where you can then also put in place how you would like this money to be used even when you're not here, so that not only are you and your immediate family today going to be protected, not only is your future going to be secure, but the future of your children, your children's children, from generations to come can be secure and they can be financially educated and well off and taken care of because of the decisions and the things and the choices that you make today and you put in place now can actually guarantee and ensure that even generations into the future, that this just continues to grow and expand and provide. Remember in the Bible it says a godly man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. This tool will allow you to do that. If used responsibly, if set up properly, and if managed diligently, it will provide you the ability and the foundation to put in these safeguards, these backstops, and really to have a holistic approach to financial planning and management that you can pass down to future generations and teach them about financial education, how to be stewards of their money and their finances, make better decisions, and how to look at things properly and just kind of start to change the narrative and shift the mindset of people all across the country by starting to look at things differently and stop taking this approach of I'm young, I have more time, so therefore I can take more risk. And let's shift that to I'm young, I have a lot of time, therefore I don't need to take as much risk. Finance is one of the only fields where you hear people say putting your money at risk, putting yourself at risk is the best way to get a positive outcome. So putting your money in danger is the best way to get more money. In any other area, that sounds like just crazy. If you were going to have surgery, you wouldn't say that let's go with this surgeon with no experience because, that would put me at greater risk of dying. Therefore, I have a greater odds of living. No, that sounds stupid. Finance is the only field where higher risk equals higher reward, and it doesn't have to be the case. If you start early, if you plan correctly, and if you make smarter choices, and that starts by just knowing what we talked about at the very beginning, what are your options? What is the facts? And you can't make a sound financial decision if you don't know the truth and you don't know what all your options are, if you don't have the full picture. So it starts there. But anyways, hopefully you got something out of it. If you want to learn more, if you want to take this a step further, if you want to learn how this would work and be implemented and used in your life and your finances moving forward, you can always feel free to reach out. You can visit www.mind-freeadvantage.com. You can check out our membership website at ultimateacceleratorblueprint.com, or you can check out the app at ultimatewealth.mbt. That's michaelvictorted.so. Again, thank you for tuning in. My name is Derek Paslock. Well, until next time, live your legacy.
If I get knocked down, I'ma get back up. If I get knocked down, I'ma get back up. If I get knocked down, I'ma get back up. I'ma get back up. I'ma get back up. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. Yeah, no more running from that bad guy. Don't worry about it. I'm right here. What's up? I know that journey been hard for you. Okay, I